lembra de ligar as legendas para você poder entender tudo que a gente conversou. Fechou? Não perca o próximo Musicast. Brad Schoenfeld para você.
Thinking about your students today, what advice would you give to early career researchers or professionals looking to contribute to advancement of muscle hypertrophy science?
Yeah, I would say follow your passion. That to me is always, when I accept students for mentoring, it's always about passion. So I think, I don't want to say a lot of times, but often students kind of get roped into a certain line of research, and I think often that is dictated by funding effects. In America, I don't know what it's like in Brazil, but a lot of times you can have a difficult time getting funding for what I do.
Yeah.
The government doesn't want to fund jack 25-year-olds. So I think that they get roped into this line of research, and I think if you're allowing funding to dictate, you're not going to be asked. So all right, you can go through with that. You will be able to get funding if you're inventive with it, like I have been. And I wake up every day, Jack, to do what I do. So to me, the most important thing is to enjoy what you're doing, have a passion for it, and then you really feel like you're making a contribution.
Well, do you have room for a 45-year-old and 240 pounds physician?
Anytime you want to come up, Paolo, you let me know.
Thank you very much, Professor. So this final question is for you to talk with our audience. That's a lot of fans of yours and a lot of followers of your studies. And for the listeners who want to deepen their understanding, what books, resources, or even courses would you recommend?
Well, I do have I never want to make my turn my podcast into promotional efforts. But yeah, I have as you mentioned, a book that is available that talks about the science of hypertrophy. I do, what I would suggest is, for those who can, try to look at original research, and particularly like meta-analyses, I think can be very good, particularly for those who are not researchers, because they give a perspective on the combination of what we know, the synthesis of what we know through the literature. Although, unfortunately, I think we have some meta-analyses that are being carried out by people who should not be doing meta-analyses, that don't understand how to really statistically analyze. But I do think that it's really important to do that. If not, I think following evidence-based professionals, and not just one, like, you follow me, but follow a bunch of them and try to get commonalities when you're doing that, because there's a difference, by the way, between influencers and evidence-based professionals, or there can be. So you got to be careful in that respect, but I would suggest that when you do it, follow people who actually are involved in carrying out the research on the topic, or have higher level degrees. But don't follow just one evidence-based pro. Follow a bunch of them, because we can have different opinions, and you want to then try to tease out. You want to look for commonalities and what people agree on. And if you're not able to scrutinize the literature, that's probably the best way to go about learning. And certainly, if I was going to, let's say I wanted to learn about rocket science, I would pick 5 or 10 experts in rocket science and try to follow them and understand what their beliefs are, so I get an idea what they agree on, what they disagree on, and try to assess from there what my own beliefs would be.
Professor, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for intellectual generosity. It was a pleasure talking to you. I hope we see each other soon.
Obrigado.
Oh, muito obrigado. Thank you. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Yeah, hopefully that was good for you. What time? Glass on it. I gotta get the glasses that you have, because mine, I have glare when I have my glasses, so I try to keep them up. But yeah, we're fine on time. So hopefully that was good for your for what you were looking for. And let me know when do you think this will be posted.
It was excellent, because sometimes I think people just not only they break the knowledge, they break the timeline. So they start on some point that they cannot understand because they didn't even look at what happened before. So for me, it's very special to talk with you about this today, because I get my graduation at 2004, and a lot of things changed since then, and they changed fast. And for example, when I was competing in 2008 for bodybuilding, there was this saying that go hard or go home. And there's this like, what everybody was doing pre-exhaustion. So every set, every exercise, we do a very bad pre-exhaustion, and our trainings endure like 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. And today it's almost the opposite. So I cannot tell these things to people that follows me, because it sounds like, oh, this guy that is telling about the past, and it was so long time ago. And it was not a long time ago. It was like 10 years, 15 years maybe, and it's like yesterday. So this is the reason that they cannot understand what is happening right now. And this is why they don't look for personal trainers. They don't look for well-graduated people to not just teach them how to train, but to consume their information. It's what you said about when you tell the guys to look to follow people that really understand what they are talking about. The difference between the influencers and the difference between the professors and people that are doing science right now. This is very important, because although we have this tons of knowledge, people goes to bro science. Yeah. I know this is not a nice word, I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
And from what, because as you know, I have a lot of colleagues in Brazil. They tell me, I mean, America's bad. They say Brazil is like the king of bro science beliefs. That there's.
You're talking to Tacito.
Well, also, so we had, do you know Allison Ennis, Tacito's student? He was a visiting scholar in my lab for a year. He spent the past year in my lab, so I
Nice.
got a lot of insights. You know, he's in Curitiba. He's studying under Tacito, but yeah, he's giving me the whole lowdown on Brazil. And I've been to Brazil, as you know, 4 or 5 times. So I have a lot of followers. I've collaborated with Brazil, the labs in Brazil, more than pretty much any other labs. So yeah, I love Brazil, and I know I have a lot of followers there. So when do you think you're going to post the video?
I think the next week, or the following one, because we have to. It's a special podcast, so being with you, and we want to advertise for everybody on Instagram, YouTube. So today, just for numbers, right? We have about 13 million followers, and we know that. So yeah,
1 million?
13 million, yes, around 13 millions between Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And the problem is and I'm telling you so because the problem is the social media today is work for itself, and they not spread our posts how it was done like 5 years before.
The algorithms are really shitty.
And I think they're dumping people, because if you see what people are liking to watch these days, there are pranks, there's stupidities, and the algorithm just give it as every time gives more and more of this to the people. So we want to be very careful to all of our followers, or at least the most of them can know that we have this conversation and the relevance of this conversation, because we are talking to a recent story that might make them understand what is going on with their bodies, or with their training, and how they can improve their performance without thinking about steroids or peptides and things like that, because they don't understand that real performance, you're doing in a chronicle way. So they just think are doing a cycle. Oh, I'm doing a cycle now, weighing 10 kilograms of muscle. Oh, come on, this is not happening. You know, you're doing a cycle, and when you end your cycle, you lose this 10 kilos that you made. So it's very hard for us to see that, because before social media, it's like exercising and performance was like a character value. So people, because they are able to understand the importance of taking care of their lives, their health, their lifespan, their health span. And today they just want to post a photo with a jacket abdomen. So what is happening? So
yeah, that's the unfortunate look. That's what we, all of us, and you, I'm sure included, fight against every day. That you get people are impressed. Certainly, when I was a kid, when I was an up and coming bodybuilding, aspiring bodybuilder, I wouldn't go to the researcher about questions. I go to the dude with the 52-inch chest and the 24-inch arms and say, dude, you know, how do you get like that? Well, he's not mentioning the fact that he's using a shit ton of gear and had great genetics. So he's saying, yeah, do some concentration goes and work the peak of your biceps. So
I can remember my first workout routine. I was, oh my God, I was 11 years old. I used to live in the countryside, so we do not have too much to do. And I start lifting weights. And we didn't have the personal trainers as like graduated professionals. So we have those guys that we call, what is the name? They're instructors. You have instructors. There are practical guys. They're the guys that lift all their lives, and they're like passing along what they learn about the way that they lift weights. And my first training routine, you're gonna laugh this. It was start with pec deck and go to the squat, biceps, and then to knee extensions. And this is all that I training for 2 years. 2 years every day. And then
workout.
So, and then I think that a lot of things that happens on my body today at 45, I think that is due to this kind of misunderstanding that people thought with me at that age. And I just couldn't put things right, because after that, I did not was able to get a proper teaching of lifting weights until I get like 19 or maybe 20, when I got a trainer, because I was on the med school, and then I was an athlete there. I used to compete in weight, in running, 100 meters and 400 meters with when we 4 guys run. I don't know the name in English, I'm sorry.
It's called.
Yeah, perfect, thank you very much. So I was competing, and this guy that was an athlete, that he was a professional athlete, and he was graduated, and here in Brazil it's called physical education. I think in US it's a different graduation. So I got this guy, and this guy he blew my mind, because he told me about sets, he told me about periodization. And I said, whoa, what I'm doing? I did like 8 years of nonsense. And how many times do you need to correct 8 years of nonsense on a period of your life that your body is like becoming something? So, and what if, and there's a terrible question, what if I had the proper information and guidance to train since I was 11? Maybe I could be an athlete, as I sometimes wished. And the other things that I competed was jiu-jitsu and boxing, and I can't stop thinking that I might achieve a lot of more success on those sports. Although what I really like lifting weights. It's my passion.
Yeah, look, I think I went through somewhat similar issues when I was younger. I would follow the bodybuilding routines of my favorite bodybuilders. So I'd pick, like, I want this bodybuilder's legs, so I'm going to follow his leg routine. And like somehow the leg routine that he was doing was making his legs that way, and this person's chest, they're not understanding the nuances. So I think or most of us grow up similarly with that until we learn properly. It's just a question of how quickly do you learn. I didn't start till I was 22, 21 training. So you got a much younger start than me.
And who were your favorite bodybuilders?
Oh, this goes back to the 80s.
Oh, so do I.
Brada, Frank Zane was at the early phase, but Lee Labrada, Lee Haney, Rich Gaspari.
I know all of them. Lee Labrada.
Sean Ray.
I think Lee Labrada was the more aesthetic bodybuilder, but I admire what Frank Zane did with only 84 kilos of body weight. It's amazing, and I think today he still amazes me. And the other one was bigger guy, so obviously they are few of them. So I think we have the same favorite bodybuilders, because Brazil is like 20 years before US. Professor, thank you very much again.
Thank you, Paul. Keep me posted when this is going to be on. I'll make sure I help to promote it. Anyway, it's a pleasure. Hopefully I'll see you in Brazil at some point.
So do I. I hope so, and I hope it's not take too long, Professor. Thank you very much.
Tchau.
Bom, pessoal, Paulo Muzy aqui. A gente acabou de fazer o podcast do ano, o professor Brad Schoenfeld falando para vocês, né, sobre a vida dele, né, de pesquisa, a jornada dele nos livros e nas publicações. Uma pessoa que eu acho que vocês devem escutar com muito cuidado. E a gente vai tentar trazer sempre pessoas assim para falar com vocês, eventualmente, né, e que falem para você do que está sendo produzido hoje, o que é conhecimento realmente de valor para a gente poder trabalhar e discutir num nível superior, aonde o seu desempenho ele seja de fato levado a sério. Tá? Não esqueça, né, de conhecer nossos parceiros insiders sempre com a gente. Então esse podcast aqui, ele é trazido para vocês pela Insider. Se você quer ter o mesmo nível de conforto que eu tenho, basta você entrar na loja da Insider, insiderstore.com, e você vai ter lá um cupomzinho Insider Time, ou em português, Insider Time, tá bom? Que tá aqui nos comentários no vídeo, na descrição do vídeo. Legal? A gente se vê. Beijão para vocês. Até lá.